Look Ma, I'm on TV! Interviewers, a Pokemon trainer class introduced in Ruby and Sapphire, though it's only used by 2 trainers who participate in a double battle. Gabby and Ty, a news reporter and cameraman who we first find on Route 111. Their English names are some pretty funny puns, with Gabby being a reference to how she's the one doing the talking during the news segments, and I guess Ty is supposed to be like TV. The first time you meet them, they'll have a Whismur and a Magnemite, which are 2 Pokemon that kinda fit them. Whismur obviously being a reference to the sound equipment that they carry, and Magnemite I guess being a cool techie Pokemon. This is before the days of Rotom, so I guess this could be a Pokemon that helps with getting some drone shots. After a good battle, they'll ask for an interview, which really just uses the word selector feature that we see appear throughout these games. But the next time you find a television, you can watch your interview where they'll discuss the battle and repeat the phrase that you selected.
After a battle, we asked Kira for a succinct summary. The trainer replied, thick. Kira's Pokemon Lombre and Marshtomp, and thick. That's deep. There's deep significance behind that quote.
It's one of those cool little things that makes the Pokemon world feel even more alive. But what I love most about them is that there isn't just one battle against them or 3, there are infinite battles. Well, technically. The second time you'll see them on your journey is Route 118 after you gain access to Surf. Here, their Pokemon are a bit stronger, with Whismur having evolved into Loudred. I really like the idea of some other trainers who also travel the world and level up their Pokemon with you. Also, I just want to say that Gabby and Ty are different from other Rematch trainers for a handful of reasons that I mentioned and will keep talking about. Of course, every time you defeat them, Gabby will ask for an interview, which you could always complete, but things are getting a little tedious, so I guess I'll decline this time and let's move on to Route 120, where we find them yet again. As usual, their Pokemon have leveled up, and Magnemite has even evolved into Magneton at this point. This is the last location you'll find them in, but it isn't the end of the story, because after completing this battle, they'll actually return to their original spot of Route 111, and will still be itching for a battle. At this point, you might realize that they just continue moving along their cycle of 3 routes over and over and over again. By the time you reach the end of their second cycle, they'll be at their peak, with both Pokemon capping at level 39 and Loudred having finally evolved into Exploud. But even then, that isn't the end of the story because they will literally keep going. Their Pokemon won't get any stronger, but Gabby and Ty will keep moving from one location to the next and will always accept a battle when talked to. And yes, they will always ask for an interview when defeated. This is one of the reasons I actually love them most out of many trainers in the region, because they're an easily repeatable battle that doesn't require any prerequisites to trigger a rematch, aside from traveling from place to place. While I do love a VS Seeker that we will later get, I kind of think that this works a little better with how quick and snappy each battle can be. I remember doing endless gauntlets of back-to-back battles as a way of training my Pokemon, and it's pretty cool that this is accessible grinding at a decent level. You just need to have access to Fly to easily repeat the cycle. Though the stronger your Pokemon get, the less useful it'll be because they don't go any higher than level 39. But I still really enjoyed having these 2 stick around and watch the growth of the player character during their journey. They have also appeared in the trading card game with some great art drawn by Ken Sugimori. I love whenever he gets to draw a piece with a full scene for promotional images or the TCG. It really captures the world and the characters so well. But arguably one of Gabby and Ty's best appearances was in Pokemon Generations. This was a series of web shorts that I should really review in its entirety at some point, but the purpose of each episode was to expand the Pokemon universe from different perspectives. This episode is set in the continuity of Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire after the events of the Delta episode. Gabby and Ty are suspicious that the truth about the meteor is being covered up. So under the guise of an interview at the Moss Deep Space Center, they sneak in and find video surveillance from one of the satellites that shows a battle between Brendan and Rayquaza against Deoxys up in space. This whole episode is just so dang good and is one of my favorites in the series, because with the setup of following other characters, it's able to have this tone and premise that I honestly think could work for a whole movie. Gabby and Ty are more than just reporters with how they're going after the truth to a conspiracy, and we get to see their characters and personalities develop even more. And then there's just the absolute cosmic horror of the Deoxys battle scene that I just love. The episode ends with them getting caught and asked to hand over the footage that they took, because the world isn't ready to know the truth. But with some expert tomfoolery, they escape with the flash drive and we're left on a cliffhanger. These guys are criminals in the name of truth. It's amazing. That's what I'm saying about this deserving a whole movie. But I guess the story ends with them getting caught because we haven't seen much else beyond this. Though like, yeah, this is such an insane cliffhanger to leave us on. I get that the whole point of Pokemon Generations is to have these little glimpses into parts of the video games that we don't see, and other episodes basically do the same thing, but we're talking about actual extraterrestrial Pokemon here, end of the world meteors stopped by a kid riding an ancient dragon. Normally in Pokemon games, we save the world or encounter incomprehensible monsters, and nobody is around to witness any of it. And I think that the stakes of the Delta episode and the potential consequences of the aftermath would be really interesting to explore. Anyway, a bit of a side tangent I guess, but this is such a good way to bring Gabby and Ty back for the remakes and tie them into the main narrative. It feels pretty natural with how they're a known presence in the Hoenn region. I just hope they're alright. I do like that the interviewer trainer class has continued to appear in future generations because it just fleshes out the Pokemon universe and provides a fun battle. But these guys will never be Gabby and Ty, they just have so much more going on. Of course we can rest easy knowing that they came back in Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, which as mentioned gave us some of their best moments. You know, because it allowed for the whole conspiracy storyline in the Pokemon Generations episode.
Going from the original games to Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, they did have a redesign, but again, having that card artwork gives us a better idea of how they would have looked. Most interesting is Gabby's hair and eye color are just completely different. Instead of blue hair and eyes, she now has brown. I couldn't really think of a reason for this aside from making her look less remarkable and more generic, but maybe it was just preference? I mean, these are technically the designs for a general trainer class, but these are the only characters that use this design, and on top of that, this is a generation they were given their distinct personalities. Her clothing is also different, but it still carries the same feelings. Ty is more or less the same, but he's also had a color change with his hat. He loses a pack around his waist and now has a shirt with the Rotom design. Again, bringing to mind how useful that Pokemon would be in this kind of field. Overall, I actually kind of prefer the original design for Gabby and the new design for Ty, but I find it so interesting how they can both be so different while still carrying a lot of the same intentions and feelings.
So that has been the story of the interviewers from Pokemon Ruby, Sapphire, and Emerald. Like I said, I saw way too much of them in grinding sessions to get stronger and stronger, but it was a battle that I really appreciated. During the course of a playthrough, they're a great way of tracking the player's progress beyond just rival battles at every turn. It's a reminder that our influence isn't limited to only the characters involved in the main story. The truth is that we're all connected and we all touch the lives of others. I mean, Pokemon Legends Arceus literally spelled that out for us. So let me know what you think about these two in the comments below and how they weren't just an NPC battle, they were two characters who got to witness the birth of a hero and potentially make a difference themselves. Anyway, I should be heading off, I've got an interview to finish. Thank you to every channel member for your continued support, especially the great Gators. DeAndre, Viz, Justin Dowes, Dartholomew, L Dashy, Switz Cheese, Lockadox, Gallantry, Gator Kid 509, TF, Cheeseburger Lasers, Mathaclock 947, Nomad Nobi, Pastel Blood, Taijirai, Justin R, Volity, Cosmo Zero, Phantom, and Quago. If you would like to support, see your name here, get access to emotes for comments, live streams, and sometimes early videos, as well as a monthly members-only podcast, you can become a channel member today. You can also follow me on Twitter as well for more memes. Anyway, this is GatorX, and I'll catch you all later.
Poochyena! Beautifly.
Shroomish.
Torchic.
Draco!
Latios.
Corfish.
Mudkip, Kecleon,
Zigzagoon!
Makahita.
Wilmer.
What's happening, Pikachu?
Pikachu? Lotad.
Jigglypuff.
Blaziken.
Rated E for everyone.